Hey, everybody. Before we get going on this week's show, I just want to let everybody know that the guys had a really busy week lined up this week. They got shows Wednesday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they had a surprise show dropped on them for Thursday night that you'll hear more about probably next week. Can't really talk about it right now, but again, we'll talk about it next week. But anyway, as we were recording this show, we had a lot of distractions. People were calling Doug, and he was having to answer the calls, like I say, because of all the stuff they had going on. About a little over midway through the show, Tommy had to step away to take care of something unexpected. And so me and Doug finished out the show. So if this show feels a little disjointed at times and kind of feels like it kind of jumps around, that would be why. We just wanted to make sure we got a show out for everybody this week, but not without its challenges. But it's still a fun episode, and you can still hear the guys talk about these different cards that we go over from the different posters that people sent us. And again, another interesting and fun episode. But I just want to kind of explain, if you listen to it, you think, man, this kind of feels out of sorts. Well, it kind of was, but we did the best we could with everything these guys had going on. And we can talk more about it on next week's show. But for now, let's go ahead and check out this episode right now.
From title belts to Hall of Fame, Doug and Tommy carved the name. Fists of fury and hearts of gold. Every story, every fight retold. Tales of glory, laughter, cry. Tennessee warriors with hearts open wide. In the ring or on the air, legends living without a care. On the mic they roar, on the mat they soar. Dangerous conversations, fans want to know. Podcast kings ruling the waves. Memphis wrestling raising the stage.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back once again to Dangerous Conversations with Dangerous Doug Gilbert and Tommy Wildfire Rich. Guys, we've made it through another week, and it's time to talk some old school wrestling once again. How are you doing?
Good,
Man.
Up.
Man, I'm doing great, Gene. Had a good start into the week here, and got the Henderson County Fair out from in front of us, and now it looks like Friday night, which that would be tonight, wouldn't it? Ripley, Tennessee. Saturday night, Dyersburg, Tennessee. Sunday night, West Tennessee Comic Con in Jackson, Tennessee. It's Carl Perkins Civic Center. So we've got a busy next few days, and then we go to September the 20th, the Banana Festival in South Fulton, Tennessee from 11 to 2. And then me and Tommy will leave there on Saturday and go to Paragould, Arkansas at the Greene County Fairgrounds for a horror convention and like a horror Comic Con, I guess it would be called, with all your horror characters and everything. I guess me and Tommy fit right in there with those horror characters and everything. We'll be doing the Banana Festival that morning from 11 to 2, and then go over there to Paragould, get there, sign some autographs, and wrestle after that. And like I said, that's September the 20th. Everybody come out and see us at South Fulton, Tennessee, 11 to 2. Then we get right in the car and head over to Paragould to the Horror Con at the Greene County Fairgrounds, Paragould, Arkansas, that night. We got a lot of stuff going on. Then October 4th, the Memphis Tigers, Memphis Lane Wrestling Night with the Tigers. And that will be at Memphis at the Tiger Lane there in Memphis. One of the old Coliseum's right over there beside us. It's kind of a cool night also.
Somebody say something about, man, I'm glad Dougie remembers all that. Memphis Mafia on tour is what we're talking about. Hey, and we're going to be in Philly. We're going to be across the country, man. This is like old school wrestling, man. Back in the day, somebody say something about, I am fired up about it. And, hey, you know, Ripley, Mississippi, Ripley, Tennessee. I mean, man, Paragould, going to be at the Comic-Con. It don't get no better than that. I get home, come home, see my brother too. Shoot, it don't get no better. I'm excited.
Man, it's like, yeah, the Memphis Mafia just burning up the roads and I got a couple of buddies. We host a USWA podcast, and it's like the USWA is alive and well. All these towns you guys are naming off that y'all are going to be hitting, it's just like the USWA days. You used to hit all those towns, right?
Oh man, it's really cool, Gene. Like I said, and we've got more stuff coming up. We got other stuff that we've got in the works. We got a few things over there in Mississippi, I think that about that's coming in November, and we got a couple more things I think in October. But it's all shaping up real well. And like I said, me and Tommy have a great time going out. And,
hey, the bottom line is Memphis Mafia on tour. I mean, this is Memphis wrestling at the best. This is USWA. I mean, they're bringing it back, old school wrestling. It's just such a joy for me. It's such a pleasure to be back, man. So I'm excited. And then next week we're back in Tennessee again. So, hey, long live USWA, long live independence. And we're just glad to be here, man, to all the wrestling fans.
And, hey, if you want to bring the Memphis Mafia tour to your town, you can. Reach out, let us know. Hit me up at the email address, DougGilbertPodcast@outlook.com. Let us know what you got going on and what your plans are, and I will get you in touch with these two guys, and we will make that happen. And then you will hear them on this show talking about coming to your event very soon on the Memphis Mafia Tour 2025, we called it, but man, all this steam behind it, it sounds like it's probably going to roll right into 2026 as well. We'll see how things go, right?
Oh, yeah, it'll roll on, Gene, and me and Tommy will keep on making some shows, meeting fans and old school fans, new fans, and me and Tommy have a great time. Like I told you before, I wasn't the biggest fan of going out, meeting people and signing things in the years past, but Tommy would try to get me to. Tommy was the one riding this. I'll say I'm the one riding a lot of stuff, but on this, Tommy was always right. He'd like to go out and see the fans and talk to them. I like to kind of stay in my own little world. But now I like to go out and talk to fans. I had a great time in Manchester talking with a few fans up there. Man, like I said, it's cool. The old school fans, the new fans, the grandparents, their kids, their grandkids. It's kind of cool meeting all the different generations of fans.
Hey, and you say Manchester, man. My man Bo James, I talked to him the other day, and he was talking about you was class act, you was the show there. So, hey, big shout out. I wish I'd have been there with you, Bubba.
I had a good time, and like I said, that was my first time. Tommy's had a lot of encounters with Bo James, and I've met Bo a handful of times, but I've never wrestled with him or anything. But he was my partner there that night, Gene, in Manchester, and I mean, that was a good experience, and I had a good time, and everything we talked about. Maybe me and Tommy doing some fairs for him coming up.
Man, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, Bo's a really good guy. He's a wrestling historian, if there ever was one. He's got a couple of great podcasts people can check out if you want to hear about the history, especially wrestling in East Tennessee and out through them parts. He's lived most of it, and what he didn't, he's talked to the people who were there and can tell you all about it. So make sure you check that out over on Bo's page. But I guess, people send us, I was going to say, you're talking about the meet and greets and everything, and I know you guys both have a great time talking with fans, and they, come and tell stories and remind you of things. But a lot of them I see at these, they bring up old programs, magazines, pictures, just all kinds of cool stuff folks, bring in and show you. And we get a lot of people sending to our Facebook page a lot of cool cards and posters from various shows that, you guys were on, Doug, your dad was on, your brother, and different things. And I put them up over on the Facebook, and we've got some really good ones lately. And people seem to really like it. Like when we go through the old cards and you guys just kind of talk about, what you remember about the matches and the guys involved in it. And I thought, we'd go through some of the most recent ones we were sent and kind of see if it sparks any memories for you guys and any interesting conversation, if that works for y'all.
Oh, that's cool, man. Like I said, one of the guys, like in Manchester, I was signing some things for. I asked him, he was showing me some cool programs that me and Tommy was in together, and I asked him, I said, man, how many of these do you have? And what I was actually talking about was like, did he have any extra of the same ones? And he said, Doug, I've got about 4,000 to 5,000 different ones. And
wow.
I said, no kidding. I said, I was actually talking about, did you have any duplicates of this? Because some of them was so cool and everything. And He said, I don't think I do, but I got 4,000 to 5,000. I said, where do you get them? He said, I get them from everywhere I can. Anywhere I see them, I'll buy them and put them up. And he said, then I'll just, get a dozen or so, and then I'll come and meet y'all somewhere and get y'all to sign them. But it was cool, all the different people that was in them.
Yeah, man, that's a fun hobby. I've got my share of them, but good Lord, I ain't got anything even remotely close to 4,000. That's amazing.
My wife told me I need a new hobby. You think I need to start buying programs?
I don't know if she would dig that. If you told her you're going to start filling that.
Hell, I got some. I'll sell you, Bubba.
He'll even sign them for you, Doug.
Yeah.
No, he'll sell them to me, then charge me to sign them.
That's how you do it right there.
Yeah, I'll give them to you, then charge you. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if she wants you to have that for a hobby. You start having to build on to the house to store all your programs and
He's got
such.
a big shop he can store that stuff in.
You got some cool stuff out there.
He telling you a story anyway. He got a bunch of stuff stored anyway. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Through the years of wrestling, you ain't lying. He got a bunch of stuff. I mean,
you know as well as I do, Tommy, he could charge admission for folks to walk through there and look at all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he got a wrestling daggone, whatever you call it,
Museum.
Museum. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, he got Eddie's stuff in a trophy, like a trophy case. He got some of his stuff and his dad's. Got belts hanging on his ceiling out in he calls it his shop, but it's a museum. You ain't lying. Plus, my favorite part is those big TV out there that's watching.
Yeah, that's my favorite part too, Tommy. But anyway, fellas, I appreciate it. But yeah,
the first card I got here, I don't have a year, so I'm thinking maybe you guys, we can probably pin down a year once we hear some of these names. But this isn't actually in Florida. This is at the Robarts Arena, Sarasota, Florida. It says Friday, September the 11th, 9 matches in all, 6 title matches. We've got a lights out special challenge match, and this is listed as the opener between Mike Graham and Tully Blanchard. I imagine being down in Florida, that might go a little different than perhaps it would in other parts of the country, rather if this was happening like maybe in Southwest or something. But being down in Florida, I figure Mike Graham may have come out on the good end of this one. I don't know. But then we had a Florida junior heavyweight title match, Mr. Saito taking on Jerry Brisco. Now, man, that sounds like a heck of a match there, doesn't it?
Oh, Jerry Brisco, man. I love Jerry, man. He was in Georgia. He was, we got a booking agent or something. He traveled on the road with us. And me and him and Roddy Piper was together. So, yeah, a lot of wild times with him. As a matter of fact, we was in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Terry Lynn was with me. And, yeah, it was a crazy night. Anyway, I won't go into no detail, but we had a wild night. I don't know if he tried to run over me. I just jumped on the car, but I busted the window out. And then we had to explain all that. Yeah. Some of the more rowdy days.
Dang, you doing spots out in the parking lot, wasn't you?
Yeah.
You trying to do Memphis TV in West Virginia?
Well, what it was is we stayed at the Holiday Inn, and the check-in was at the bottom of the hill, and it was about it looked like a mile. You had to ride it looked like a ride. I mean, the ride up there looked like a mile. And Jerry,
Coach.
I just tried to jump on the car. Yeah, one of the crazy times, you know.
Terry
I might have been toe up a little bit, but they was toe up too.
I got you. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, if that one got out of hand between Mr. Saito and Jerry Brisco, who you think's taking down who there legitimately? We get into an amateur bout. We're thinking Brisco, probably. I'll say Saito's no slouch.
I mean, you got the finish on it, but I'd say that was a Cohen toss right there.
Yeah, I'd say they're definitely 2 really tough guys.
Yeah, that's the thing about these posters. We got the poster, but we don't have the results, so we just have to kind of speculate on what we think might have happened. The next match they got listed.
Dang, you always got them results. I can't believe it.
Yeah, these are just posters people sent me. I didn't have enough time to go back and then find the results, too, so we may follow up on that. They got a Florida heavyweight title match with Charlie Cook versus Buzz Sawyer. Now, we talked about Buzz Sawyer quite a bit. I think Charlie Cook's name may have come up once or twice, but I know he did a lot of wrestling out here in Florida and everything. Was he ever up in Tennessee much that you guys remember?
Yeah, he come through here, but Charlie was the one that played pro football, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. But Charlie was a real cool guy, man. Charlie, he wrestled in Atlanta some too, but just a real good guy, man. Just went about his business and just, I mean, I never heard him say a bad word, but yeah, Charlie was cool.
Now here's a match that I think you guys will take an interest in. This is the Florida television title match. Dory Funk Jr. defending against Tommy Gilbert.
I would say, trying to think year-wise, Gene, 80s.
More like 80s? Okay. That makes sense.
I was going to say.
But Tommy, he did a lot of business down in Tampa. For Eddie Graham, though, too, didn't he? I mean, Tommy.
He went down there. He went down there. Went down there.
Tommy was that old school wrestler, and that's what Eddie Graham loved, was them old school wrestlers, man. And Tommy, top his game. Like I said, he beat me to death one time boxing. So not only did he know how to wrestle, he knew how to box too.
And that was, I think, during the time you're talking about, Gene, was probably when Dory was booking. Mm-hmm. And I think my dad went down there a couple of different times when Dory was booking, because I remember Dory actually told me this himself. So when he started booking one time, he just brought my dad in, and he went to try to work with a lot of the different guys in the territory. Now, by what it sounds, it was good talent there by what you just named off and everything. But he said there wasn't nobody that he could have a match like he wanted to have with in that territory. And he brought my dad in, and he worked with him. And he said, just none of them guys was like your dad, which, I mean, Dory really liked the way my dad worked, which that was Dory's style and everything. And my dad was always in good shape with Dory. And like I said, in Florida and out in Amarillo and everything when he went out there to work for him. But my dad always enjoyed working with Dory.
Now that you mention it, looking at the rest of the card, I think you're right. This is going to be 80 or 81 once we see some of the other guys on the card here in just a moment.
That's what I was going to say. I thought maybe 81, but 80. So we're right in the ballpark.
I think the main event's going to pin it to 81. We'll see here in just a second. Southern title match, Bobby Jaggers versus Coco Samoa. I don't know that we've talked about either one of these fellas thus far on the show, Bobby Jaggers and Coco Samoa.
Well, by Tommy, you had to be around Bobby Jaggers.
Around Bobby. I don't know Coco Samoa. I don't know who that is, to be honest. But Bobby Jaggers, man, he short, heavy-set boy. I say boy, he was a man, but he was always laughing and smiling, and just a great guy. I don't know what folks say about him, but I always had a good time being around him, and could wrestle his butt off too.
Gene, I like Bobby. I was just around him a handful of times, and a lot of those was when I was a lot younger before I ever got into business. But man, he was funny, and he would tell some stories and stuff. And it was all the truth, whatever any of it was. And he was funny, but I remember the guys mess with him and just egg him on and get him to tell some stuff. And he was funny, like I said. But like Tommy said, he's always smiling and happy and stuff. But he was a funny guy.
Now here's an interesting match for Florida. So the semi-main event on this show in Sarasota, Brass Knuckles title match, Terry Funk versus Jerry Lawler.
That is interesting. Now, which Lawler went down there, to Florida a few different times, and I mean everything like his deal. He had that deal set up in Hawaii. That he went to Hawaii on vacation, and they asked him to work while he was on vacation. He worked, and they put the Hawaiian, whatever they called it. They didn't call it.
The Polynesian.
The Polynesian heavyweight belt. Well, then he told me, he said, then they started wanting him to come down there like every Friday or every other Friday. And he said he figured they was just going to fly him down there one time and take the belt off of him. Well, they flew him down there to work in somebody, and he said he figured he'd drop the belt, and they told him, no, we want you to beat him. And he said he was thinking, well, when am I going to come back? He didn't ask him that or nothing, but they caught him in like 2 weeks. Said, we need you to come back the following Friday night. And he said finally he just had to tell him, look, you're going to have to take this Polynesian title off me. But he wound up just, he went on a vacation and come back as their champion. But I thought that was interesting.
So then the main event, and this is the one I think that time stamps it to 1981. Your main event's an NWA World Heavyweight title match. Texas Death Rules, the champion, Dusty Rhodes, defending against the Assassin #1. And I think Dusty won his first title in 81, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that pretty much seals that for us.
Yeah, I would say, I was going to say 81 or 80. But yeah, I would say it does. And that would have been
81.
That's right. That's what I'm thinking of. 81.
yeah.
Dusty won it in 80. That's right. There you go. But
is that right? Just say Dusty won it in 80 and Harley won it in 81. Is that what you said?
Tommy won it in 81.
Well, in 81, so it had to be 80.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a couple of interesting, semi-main and main. You got Funk and Lawler in the semi, Dusty and the Assassin, which I assume would be Jody Hamilton there.
Well, that's what I was fixing to say. I was fixing to say that would have been interesting, but I mean, that would have been a good match back then with Jody. Jody was a good worker and everything, and I mean, solid as could be.
And Slim and Trim, too, back then. I mean, Jody.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I wrestled for Jody in Deep South Wrestling, I mean, he did the assassin thing, and he got hit, but Jody's one of them other, like Jerry Blackwell. I mean, I don't know if he could throw that drop kick like Jerry Blackwell did, but Jody could get up and go, too. I mean, Jody could go.
Jody was like, to us, or to me being a kid, like growing up here, Roger Smith, like a Roger Smith type. Roger Smith and Don Bass was partners. Roger Smith was always Don's partner here. He was the one that was bigger, that could move and really go and everything. And I always had a lot of respect for him and everything. But yeah, but I always thought Jody was great too. Like I said, I mean, he was.
Hey, and he did Dirty Rhodes too, right?
Yeah,
right. Dirty Rhodes. Yeah, I remember. Hey, he could do Dusty pretty good too. Yeah,
he did.
Dirty Rhodes. Yeah, I remember that.
Dirty Rhodes and Harley Davidson. You remember who Harley Davidson was, Tommy and Gene?
Hillbilly Jim, wasn't it?
Bowling Green. He was from Bowling Green, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember his name, but he went to New York, did the Hillbilly gimmick. I don't remember his name, but yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Gene says as far as the gimmick, Hillbilly Jim. Remember that, Tommy?
Hillbilly Jim. Okay, yeah. But
and remember,
you talk about a great guy now. He's been raw on board too. He whoop anybody's butt he wanted to, probably. But
y'all remember
boy from Bowling Green, and he was just a good people, man. He didn't forget where he came from either.
Y'all remember who they brought up there to be as his uncle?
Stan Frazier.
Oh, Plowboy.
Uncle Elmer.
Yeah, and do y'all remember who they brought up there to be his cousin?
Lanny. Well, they did a couple. Lanny Keene was one.
What did they call Lanny though?
He was Cousin Junior, I think.
Cousin Junior, but who was the other one? Do you remember the
Cousin
other one?
Luke?
Cousin
which
Luke
was Gene Pettit, I think's his name.
I think you're right, but Laney is one I really like. Which you said that first, but the other one I didn't figure you'd get the other cousin. But yeah, that was the whole clan.
And then because Laney's the one that came back and was Cujo, Moondog Cujo, and
right? Laney
several different gimmicks there.
Yeah, but he was really a great guy. I mean, me and Tommy messed with him a lot. He was just a super friendly, he was the real country boy, and man, he was fun to be around. He liked to have a good time all the time.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, we're gonna run across another match with Plowboy Frazier here in just a little bit. This next one, know it's.
Oh, Gene, you pretty hip on your doggone. One of the best angles I've ever seen.
What's that?
You talk about Plowboy Frazier when Jerry Lawler took him out, or Jerry Lawler gave him a diamond ring or whatever it was. Yeah. And then Jerry brought him out and said, if it's a real diamond, it won't buzz. And Jerry hit that thing that splashed everywhere. One of the best deals I ever seen.
That was good.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff with him over the years. This one here, it doesn't say what. Some of these ads are funny. This is clipped from a newspaper, clearly. So it doesn't have the town, but it says World's Greatest Professional Wrestling, Wednesday night, August 16th, 1972. It's got 3 matches listed. It says opening match, Bull Molino versus Billy Mitchum. Now, does either one of those names ring a bell for you?
Damn, you talk about, excuse my English, man, but you talk about before I got to business. Dougie was born, man. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't know neither one of them, to be honest. You, Dougie?
Did you say Billy Mitchell?
Yeah, Billy Mitchum, Mitchum.
I'd have come closer if you said Billy Mitchell. I think that sounds closer.
Yeah. Well, then the next match is Cowboy Frankie Lane and Eddie Marlin taking on the Masked Blitzer and Billy Hamilton.
I'd say you're around the freaking 70s somewhere.
Oh, it's 72. This one's actually got a date on it. This one's 1972.
Did you say the Blitzer?
Masked Blitzer and Billy
Tommy,
Hamilton.
was y'all naming stuff after freaking deer or Blitzen or something? Or what was you doing up at Jerry Jarrett's during them years?
Now, I remember Cowboy Frankie Lane.
Yeah.
I remember him working against my dad.
Yeah, he was, I mean, I don't know. He was, matter of fact, when I first started, he got through, and I don't know, he wasn't a very personable guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, he could work now. He could work, you know.
Now listen to this main event here. All right, main event, grudge tag team match. Ron and Don Wright versus Sputnik Monroe and Tommy Gilbert.
You know what, my dad, I've always said this to y'all and other people that's asked me. People ask me what my dad think about Sputnik. I told him in the den of my mom and dad's house, and Tommy come there quite often. And but my dad had pictures of him and a lot of different guys, and it was all the guys that was in these pictures, guys that he really respected. And he had one that just he really thought a lot of, that was of him and Sputnik, and he had a lot of respect for Sputnik. And everything that I'd heard about Sputnik, other than just being a man's man, seemed to be different than my dad. Other than that, they seemed to be, you know, everything you heard about. I'm not saying everything Sputnik did was bad, but just a lot of the stuff he did was wilder than what my dad's same path was and everything. But my dad really respected Sputnik and everything. Like I said, he had a big 8x10 picture of him on the wall, like his all 8x10s, like beside in the den. Like that was where my dad's office was in the den and everything. And he had all his stuff kind of hanging down there on the wall, but he really respected Sputnik. I mean, by all the stories I got, Sputnik was really a tough guy and everything. And I think that was one of the things my dad really liked about him also.
Well, and I'm going to tell you too, though, I mean, you know, Sputsy, that's what they called him, Sputsy too, though. I mean, he ran Bill Street, you know, and he come from an old school. I mean, like Tommy, I mean, it was respect. I mean, you know, I met Sputnik a couple of times, and he just was old school wrestling. And I mean, you know, be down on Bill Street, you'd be in a barroom fight every night if you wanted to be. But he come from, you know, and just I can see him and Tommy getting along, man. Tommy, you know, if he liked you, he liked you, and if he didn't, he didn't. But I can see them getting along, man. I mean, Tommy liked me, so you know, a credit reference. I mean, I'm glad to be in this family. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So for the younger listeners who may have heard these names and not really be aware, have you guys got any like interesting stories or what do you guys know about Ron and Don Wright that maybe listeners might not be aware of?
Well, Gene, to be honest, I know Ron and Don, I've heard the names, well, I've seen it on the cards and everything, but they was more East Tennessee type fellas than they was Middle or West. And I know my dad worked with them a lot when he was in East Tennessee, but as far as me getting to see them and everything, I might have seen them when I was a kid a handful of times, but I was never around either one of them very much. So what I was going to say is I'm sure Tommy run into them working wise. I would imagine Tommy did. Tommy, did you ever run into Ron and Don Wright when you started the business?
Oh Lord, yeah. I mean, up in Tennessee, they was like, gods, Ron and Don Wright. I think one time, guy was supposed to get busted open. He told him, "You don't need to." He had this thing on his, like a brass knuckle thing, but it had a chisel piece. He hit that boy. I thought, oh my God, this ain't business. I need to be hit. But of course, I never let nobody hit me like that. But it was like a big old chisel blade. He hit him right in the doggone. He had bust his head. Oh, they was and Rod. Yeah, it was Rod. He'd take his false teeth out and poke you in the eyes and stuff. People be hollering, man. Oh yeah, they were some characters.
And well, that's what I was telling Tommy. I knew as far as much that I might have been around a handful of times when I was a kid, but I told him, they was real popular in East Tennessee.
Yeah, well, see, when I first started, they set my butt with Nick Goulas up there so I could learn and then come in fresh to Memphis. I mean, that was good for me. But yeah, them Ron and Don Wright, man, Tennessee, that was that area. They was over like nobody's business.
And Gene, Tommy's talking about that thing that you slid this thing on over your hand, and it was a metal little notch out thing. And they would punch you dead in the forehead, and it would go in your head and cut you open. It was one of the dangerous things. But where I saw this deal at was Troy Graham from some of them old timers had one, and he was showing it to me, and he was saying, I was looking at it like, gosh, and he was looking, he said, I'm going to give this to somebody and tell them to hit me with it tonight. I said, hit you? And it was just it was like across your hand, like this far across, like from finger to finger, and it was just notched up, just where it would cut you. I mean, you punch you right in your head, and it would cut you. Just
oh yeah, one lick. That's all it took.
Yeah, I mean, one lick could about kill somebody with it, I would think.
And they said it'd leave like a little divot in your head, like you're saying, there's an angle to where it goes in.
Yeah,
so,
it would, and it's about that
chisel, about as long as wide as a chisel too. I mean,
yeah, it's about that wide where my fingers are, and about that wide sideways, and it just goes, and it's up about that high, from there to there. And everything. It was a different, I remember when Dream showed it to me, I thought, oh my goodness, I'm glad if somebody's got to do it, it's going to be you and not me.
Yeah, he'd be the one for it. But, so now we're going to go to something maybe a little more familiar with Tommy. This is Tuesday night, August the 18th, 1981 at the Macon Coliseum. In huge letters at the bottom, they got it written twice: free parking, free parking. So that was a big deal apparently here at the Macon Coliseum. And opening match, you got David Sierra versus Bruno Sammartino Jr. So that would be later known as Fidel Sierra, Cuban Assassin.
Yeah.
And then, of course, David Sammartino, Bruno's son. I know you guys, I especially Tommy, I know you've worked with Fidel Sierra, the Cuban Assassin, quite a bit.
And what a great guy, too, man. Me and him staying, not steady contact, but we text each other every now and then, man. Yeah, very good people.
And a great worker to boot.
Oh,
you talking about Dave?
Yeah.
Oh, Dave's a great guy. I mean, Dave's a super fun guy. So you still talk to him every once in a while, Tommy?
Every now and then, just texting. I don't. Yeah, he'll text me every now and then, tell me what's up.
Well, that's cool. I always enjoyed being around Dave. I don't text with him or like Tommy does or anything, but when I see him, I enjoy talking to him. He's always really nice and fun and everything.
Yeah, another happy guy, man.
Yeah.
See, everybody say stuff about all us wrestlers, but a lot of us are really happy guys for real, man.
Yeah. So you were around here, Tommy. You're going to turn up in the main event here. What do you remember about David Sammartino? How was he a good guy, or was he kind of?
He was his daddy's son. That wasn't as big as his daddy.
He had to carry that name around.
About the best I can do for you.
I hear you.
And he could work some, but he thought he was privileged. That's best I can tell you. It might be inappropriate, but I don't care.
No, I mean, that's nicer than most people put it. So next match, Kevin Von Erich versus Brian St. John. And a lot of people don't realize that, Kevin Von Erich came here in Georgia in 81, but he was here for a little while and stuck around for a bit. How was he?
He was crazy.
That's what everybody says.
He was crazy. He come in one time to Georgia and told me me and him were fixing to be the world tag team champions, because I was off at Atlanta TV.
Yeah.
Well,
it never happened, but
hey, now, and they probably,
David, I met David and even Kevin, even, and
hey,
the craziest, I thought was Kevin, but he ended up being the most mellow one,
Yeah, and the one that made it.
but
Yeah.
But now, in all reality, they probably told Kevin that when Kevin come in, just to get away from him or something, get him to bother Tommy. But then, Gene, there's one thing I've been wanting to mention on here that I run through. You always run through all the stuff, have all the answers to the questions and everything. Well, the other day I was looking at tag team champions. Do you know on here who has been 3-time NWA 6-man tag champion?
3 times.
Yeah.
Well, I know Tommy held it with Ricky Morton and Terry Taylor.
That wasn't NWA, I don't think.
Well, yeah, I guess by then you're technically WCW then.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
And I'm going to tell you, look here, you hit the nail on the head. You named one of them that was part of the tag team champion, but there was one guy on all 3 sets of the NWA 6-man. Well, there was 2 guys that was the same, and one guy was different. But guess which guy now? Tommy's the one guy that's same. You guess the name of the guy that was one of his 2 partners. The other.
Now, I know he held a 6-man title with Tojo, I think, and I want to say, was it George Goulas?
Shut up. I say fail, man.
And so who are we saying would have been Tommy's partner all 3 times on this 6-man team?
Surely it wasn't Goulas. It was.
But now who would another
Bobby.
part?
Bobby.
Try again.
Okay.
Dundee?
No.
No? All right. Wasn't Tojo the other times.
One of Tommy's other idols.
George Goulas, one of his idols. Oh, that throws a kink in it. Man, I'm trying to picture who that would be.
Tommy, how'd you forget this one with the fabulous one?
Jackie Fargo, Tommy, and George Goulas for 6-man tag team champions.
Huge, yeah. George Goulas and Tojo and Tommy twice.
Wow. I've got to track down a picture of them 3 together with the belts. That's tremendous.
Tommy, where's that picture at?
And Tojo was on one job scared.
Move that camera around. I bet it's hanging on the wall somewhere around there.
No, I saw that the other day. I thought, I got to say something about this. I thought, Tommy ain't never mentioned that to me about him and George Goulas being so tight.
He don't like to brag. He tries to be humble on here.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is that somebody we get on here as a guest sometime, Tommy? Can you get a hold of him?
Did you hear that, Gene? Said you think you get George to be on here as a guest?
Oh, let's call him right now.
All right.
Hey, well, you think of this: if Tommy was his partner 3 times, how many other partners do you think he had like Tommy? I bet he was 6 dozen times 6-man tag champion.
Oh,
got to be some kind of a record, I'm sure, of all the times he held the title. Well, that just made my night. I was not aware. I knew him and Tojo held it, but I did not know Jackie Fargo teamed up with Tommy and George.
Yeah, if you look in some of the Goulas Chronicles, you'll find those little tidbits.
Well, that picture may not be on Tommy's wall, but I bet that picture was on Jackie's wall at some point. I'm sure that was one of his proudest.
I bet
proudest reigns.
I bet it wasn't on Jackie's wall. Jackie was a businessman.
Oh.
And plus, he for what reason, him and Nick always got along. I don't know. Nick always told all the boys, he said, "Kid, I'll have you farting through silk." Well, most of the guys that come in a Lincoln, they left on Greyhounds. I guess he paid Jackie because Jackie never left, and Jackie always drove a Lincoln. So, you know, I mean, you know, he wasn't Nick's guys. I mean, because he always liked Nick.
Well, and you know, Tommy, it always shocked me, which I think we've said this before, but you know, I figured Jackie would have went with Jerry when he broke apart, but Jackie stayed with Nick for a good long time, right? They saying that Jerry was going to make it.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, you figured Nick was the foundation of Tennessee wrestling. I mean, back in the day, especially when, you know, Jackie came in. So, I mean, he was loyal. And that's one thing about Jackie. He was always loyal, man. You know, I mean, when we did the Fabulous thing, man, me and Eddie, I mean, he was always giving us pointers and, you know, whatever else went with that, we always did.
Yeah, who better to give you pointers on that? So a couple more matches on this 81 Georgia card I find interesting. The semi-main event was a Georgia heavyweight title match with Ken Patera defending against Bruce, not yet Butch Reed, which probably was a fun match, right?
God, hey, if anybody has any stories about Butch Reed, I was around Butch a bunch, but I think Dougie was around Butch a whole lot more. And you talk about a great guy, man. And that's another one when we talk about being in a bar fight. You want somebody on your side. I'd want Butch Reed, man. I knew Butch real good. He'd come to Georgia, and we got along good. But like any good stories, Dougie would have them. I mean, because Butch was. I mean, y'all traveled together, right?
Yeah, man. Me and Butch traveled together a bunch. Man, I was just a guy in business, and man, I really respected Butch a lot.
So, as travel partners, you were like the unofficial third member of Doom, almost, right? You traveled with those guys.
Oh yeah, man! I had a great time with Butch and Ron, and man, I had a great time. Like I said, my brother was tight with both of them, and like I said, my dad and Butch was always real cool. And Butch was just if you look at any of his stuff from his early days through all of it, he was just a solid. I mean, he was a workhorse. I mean, Butch was a heck of a man.
So an interesting main event here, and I guess we'll address this as people are listening. Tommy had to leave; he had something come up he had to do. But this main event, it almost sounds like it's backwards here. Superfly Jimmy Snuka and Terry Gordy taking on Michael Hayes and Tommy Wildfire Rich. So you got a different Freebird on each side of the ring here. You got Tommy teaming up with Michael Hayes and Snuka teaming up with Terry Gordy. That's a fun tag team match.
That does sound interesting and everything, but I guarantee you it was, and I'm sure it was interesting. But I mean, because all four those talented guys in the ring and everything, so it didn't matter who. I think anybody could be a heel and anybody could be a babyface, which I'm sure Tommy and Michael was the babyfaces, I would think, and everything. But I mean, man, you're talking about four great workers. That's 3.5. Well, I shouldn't say that. I guess Michael's great, but Terry was great, and Tommy's great, and Jimmy was great, and Michael was what Michael was, bless his heart. But I mean, he could make people hot and everything else. So I mean, he done his job.
Yeah, most definitely. So skipping ahead to somebody sent a card. It is from the Sports Center in Owensboro, Kentucky, Thursday, August the 11th. I'm guessing this is going to be probably 85, 84 maybe. Once we start hearing some of these matches. You got the Moondogs with Jimmy Hart taking on Bobby Eaton and Stagger Lee, which of course was Coco Ware. And then the second match, and this is the reason I picked to even mention this card right here, was Giant Rebel, which you know who that is, right?
Yeah.
Giant Rebel versus Eddie Gilbert. So Eddie wrestles the Giant Rebel on this one.
You think
how did Eddie working with him?
You think Eddie scratched his head on the way to the ring that night?
I bet he knew he had his work cut out for him that night.
And you remember when Plowboy would give somebody his finish, he would like everybody could see, but he would pat his hand on his leg. But I mean, he wouldn't milk it, raise it up, and pat it, but he would just like do his hand out like this and pat his leg. I used to laugh. Everybody say, "What's he gonna do?" I said, "Look at his hand slapping his leg," but it would just go out and he would pat it and then he'd drop a big leg. But it's like me and Tommy was watching the other night. I watched when Tommy was real young. He kind of worked a little angle with Tommy, and he dropped like 4 or 5 legs on Tommy within less than a minute. And I thought, dang, he big guy. He can get up and get down.
Yeah, that's early in his career for a guy his size. He could really move around. Then by this point in '84 and '85, he's pretty limited. But man, you see find those old matches. I was kind of shocked to see that how quick and limber he was at one point.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to figure everybody don't realize this. They think he just started here. He started in California, right, Gene? Do you know that?
Right. He was the convict out there.
The convict out there and did quite a few things out there before he wound up working his way down here and everything. But I mean, then how long a career he had here before he went back up to Vince, and then he done well up there with that, and then come back here, and Frazier had a long run.
And he was a hillbilly. He was a playboy.
Right.
He was Kamala too.
He was the mask. What Lawler put that Lone Ranger?
The Lone Ranger. I forgot about that.
The Lone Ranger one time. He called him a little bit of everything.
Big old plowboy with a little Lone Ranger mask, and he's out there acting like nobody knows who he is. That was hilarious.
I love that. I thought that was great. Now, but I thought it was great.
He got all the rings and the gold chains. And he was Playboy Frazier. He had them track suits he'd wear out there, and anything he did was entertaining.
And that's what was best, and that was the longevity in all of his stuff, and it's staying fresh. I mean, it wasn't just the same thing week after week after week.
And I think kind of Vince McMahon missed out just using him only as the hillbilly. Like, he had that little around the time that Stan was there, he had like that Tuesday Night Titans talk show and stuff. If you'd have used some of those other, Playboy Frazier and some of that, he could have got a lot more mileage out of him as an entertainment, character for that kind of stuff. But he didn't stick around very long. But I hear there's good reason for that. But we'll save that for somebody else can tell about that on their podcast, I suppose.
Yeah, but anyway, no, I always loved Frazier. He's a great guy and everything, but he was a funny guy.
So then we've got a USWA flyer from 1994, Scottsburg, Indiana, National Guard Armory. We got Billy Travis in the opener against Mean Mike Miller, which we've talked about both those guys quite a bit on here.
Oh, yeah, I'm a big fan of Billy's, and I'm a big fan of Mike's.
Absolutely. The Hornet versus Richard Lee. And I remember the Hornet, I can't think of the guy's name, but basically he was doing kind of like a Sting thing, I believe, if I remember right.
Well, I think you're right on that and everything. But what I was going to ask you, do you hear of Mike Miller doing any podcasts or anybody talking to him?
He's popped up and he did a couple of them. He did one with Captain Nick from Captain's Corner right before he did that big Portland Expo around the same time that me and you interviewed Lynn Denton. He did one promoting that. And then I think I remember hearing him on Wolfie D's podcast, I think, which that was also set up through Captain Nick as well. But yeah, he's done a couple. I would love for us to get him on here.
How did they say that? How did that do in Portland? Did you hear, or it's over with now? Right?
It did well. They're actually planning a second one. They just recently, like in the last 2 weeks, announced the Portland Expo 2. So I guess it did fairly well for them to book another.
That Nick made
kind of risky. Didn't it? Yeah, had to have.
I was going to say, he just called me the other day, told me he's on the way to the bank, so he's still got that money in his pockets.
Well, that's good. And then this was the main event on this card, and I think this was a typo. And sometimes you see some typos on these wrestling posters. But Unified World Title match: Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert defending against the Rock and Roll Expert Rick Morton.
Yeah, he's a rock and roll expert. But anyway, yeah, Eddie worked a program with Ricky, and he actually dropped the unified title to him in Memphis, and then he won it back like the week or 2 weeks after that, and left it on him for a week or two. And Eddie thought that was a good thing, which Lawler told him at the time to do what, he wanted what he thought would do best, because Lawler was up there for Vince all the time and everything. But Eddie always loved Ricky's work, and they worked great together. Both of them was great and everything. So I thought that was a good deal and a good thing to do for the territory and for business-wise.
Absolutely. I remember watching that as a kid because they had that really great match there in the studio live on television. You know, they had a title match in the midst of that, you know, the few weeks that you're talking about. And it wasn't something you normally saw, you know, world title matches there on TV. So it really stood out. And of course, with those two, it was a really good match.
Yeah. And like I said, I thought that was really good. It was really good for TV. It was good for the territory, and it was good for both of them. It sure didn't hurt either one of them. It was good for business.
No, and I thought it was good looking back on it. You know, Ricky was coming out of, you know, everybody kind of considered him a tag team guy, the Rock and Roll Express guy. So it really helped establish him as a single, you know, going in there and having that feud and winning the title.
And that's what someone asked him. I heard a while back, someone asked him about that time, and he said that, you know, a lot of times people don't look at the things that you think means some of the best times of your career, but they don't think they do. But he said that was one of the ones that he'll look at that people don't think, and he'll think is one of the high points. So I thought that was cool. I'm saying that.
Yeah, that was, because I was a big Rock and Roll Express fan as a kid, and then seeing him come to Memphis and wrestling for the title against Eddie and everything. I remember it very fondly, so I'm glad to hear that's a high point for him too. Here's an interesting card from the Mid-South Coliseum, Sunday, June 19th. This is going to be 81 or 2. We'll go through some of these matches and see what you think here. Opening match, Jimmy Garvin versus Radamias. Do you remember?
Now you know which Jimmy Garvin this is, right?
This isn't Gorgeous Jimmy, right?
No, this is Terry. Actually, it's Terry Sims, or I think what Garvin was it? Terry Garvin, or what year did you say now?
No, this would have been like 81 or 2. This would have been pre-Terry Sims. It might have been Jimmy Garvin then, right?
That would have actually been Jimmy Garvin.
Yeah, there's a couple of people here you wouldn't think of being on the card in Memphis. So there you got Jimmy Garvin. This next team, what's that?
Do you got another 2 Garvins on there?
No, there's not any other Garvins on this one.
Okay.
Unless they're under mask. Because this team here is the Exterminators taking on Sylvester Ritter and the Pro. And so this is pre-Junkyard Dog here.
Yeah, that's cool. And the Pro, it seems like just from me being a kid, I remember the Exterminators, but I don't know who they was.
Then you got a no disqualification match with Rocky Johnson versus Mike Stark.
Huh. That would have been an interesting one.
Mike Stark was a guy that had been like a football player before.
He was Lord Humongous. Remember?
Yeah, eventually became Lord Humongous.
He was the original Lord Humongous.
Before Man Camp
but before anybody. When the movie come out and Lawler the first time brought that gimmick, nobody else had used that gimmick. And Lawler brought it to the Mid-South Coliseum to work against him, and he used a guy out of Memphis that was a bodybuilder, and his name was Mike Stark.
Would this have been before or after Humongous?
I think he worked once or twice, and Lawler made him that gimmick. So I'd say before, wouldn't you think?
I'm thinking so. I think so.
Because I think he used him a couple times, and he thought, man, I can do something with this guy. And then he kept him off just a little bit. But all he would work really was Memphis and around Memphis. Like he didn't go to Nashville, and he was a football coach in Memphis.
Okay, yeah, I knew football was a big part of his story.
Yeah.
So next up, Southern Tag Team title match, Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condrey defending against Tommy Rich and Tommy Gilbert.
So that'd been a good match, and interesting, and for around here, for anywhere though, that would have been interesting and a money type match, because my dad could work and sell and everything, and so could Tommy, and man, you said Phil or you said
Phil and Dennis Condrey.
Yeah, man, Dennis was great. Dennis was my partner for a while. I love that. I learned a lot from Dennis. Dennis is one of the good guys.
And this may be, I don't have the results, but this might have been one of the matches where Tommy and and your dad won the tag team titles. They had a win
that's
over
what I was
Bill and Dennis.
That's what I was going to tell you. Remember, I told you Tommy's one of the only person I know that won tag titles with my dad, my brother, and myself.
Absolutely.
And everything. I think that's really cool. And like I said, Tommy's made the rounds and be with all of us.
So then the next match, $1,000 challenge match, Bill Dundee versus Leroy Brown. And if Brown must pin Dundee twice in 15 minutes to win the $1,000.
Did you ever see, or have you looked at any of the Leroy Brown, any of his stuff, Gene, other than maybe you probably seen him and Ray Candy together as the Zambui Express, but I mean, I like some of that pre-stuff. It's just funny with him with different managers and stuff. I say it's funny. I think it's entertaining to me.
Yeah, I've seen more clips of that. I got to see a lot of stuff, but I have seen like clips of different matches of Leroy Brown pre Zambui Express. Now here's a heck of a Southern heavyweight title match. We've already talked about this guy a couple times, but he got the Giant Frazier challenging Paul Orndorff. So Orndorff versus Frazier sounds like an interesting match.
I was fixing to say, that would kind of be odd matchup, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely. I don't know. I can see Orndorff getting frustrated and try. I guarantee we didn't see no pile driver from Paul Orndorff in this match, at least. So
yeah, I guarantee you didn't see a whole lot from Paul, and you didn't see a whole lot from Frazier. But it's cool. Just us talking about Frazier brings up a lot of memories. Maybe like you said, all the different gimmicks and different things. Like Tommy said, the deal with the diamonds and everything, just stuff like that's classic.
There's a guy who just recently put out a book telling the life story of Frazier that I want to try to get a hold of. I'd be interested in reading that. I know he was a very interesting guy in and out of the ring, right?
Oh yeah, he sure was. And like I said, Gene, all these different people and coming up, like I said, just coming off the Henderson County Fair show in Lexington. Me and Tommy had a great night there. And like I said, basically tonight, Friday night, Ripley, Tennessee. Me and Tommy will be in Ripley. Saturday night, tomorrow night, we'll be in Dyersburg, Tennessee. Sunday, we'll be at the West Tennessee Comic Con in Jackson, Tennessee. Gene, we've got a lot of stuff coming up. September 20th, which will be the following Saturday, we'll be at the Banana Festival in South Fulton, Tennessee from 11 to 2. That's right, 11 a.m. to 2. We'll be there. Then we'll be heading out after that to go to Paragould, Arkansas, the Greene County Fairgrounds in Paragould over there to a horror con and to do a signing there. And then there's wrestling after the signing there. And like I said, that's in Paragould, Arkansas and everything. Then we go to October 4th. We'll go to Memphis, to Tiger Lane in Memphis, Tennessee, right out there beside the Mid-South Coliseum. Myself, Wildfire, Tommy Rich, Jerry, the King Lawler, Mouth South, Jimmy Hart. There'll be a whole Coco Beware. There'll be a whole number of guys that from the past. Everybody, we do a meet and greet and we have a little wrestling show there. But man, I just like I said, we've got a lot of places coming. We'll be over there in Mississippi coming up in November, and we'll be here and there, Gene.
Just adding more dates all the time, folks. So like I said, if you're interested in bringing the Memphis Mafia to your event, whatever that event may be, wrestling event, appearance for autograph signings, whatever you got, we're willing to hear you out and see if we can't make it happen.
Oh yeah, we'll listen.
That
like
email.
said, and like Gene said, anything as far as Twitter, if you're on Twitter, Real Doug Gilbert, Facebook fan page, Dangerous Doug Gilbert, Instagram, Real Doug Gilbert, ProWrestlingTees.com, Gilbert Family Store. Like I said, we've got all kind of stuff going on, and if you want to watch the show on the app, TalkingWest10.com, you can go on there and watch on Wednesday nights, and we do a little show for an hour on there and everything. But anyway, Gene, you got a ton of stuff going also, right, with your podcast and stuff?
Oh yeah, every week. Right now we are reviewing the entire year of 1991 in the USWA. Right now we're finishing up February. The Texas versus Tennessee feud is just getting kicked off here. Eric Embry has turned on Eddie, and Eddie is reluctantly teaming up with the King that's what we have got coming out, or had come out this past Wednesday, and that was a lot of fun. Then both guys had to put up $25,000 bonds, saying they wouldn't turn on each other when they teamed up to wrestle Embry and Pritchard. So a lot of fun stuff there. You can check out everything related to that podcast at uswapodcast.com, and also check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com at Retro Wrestling Archive. We've got over 3,500 videos on that channel. It's got tons of Doug's matches, Eddie's matches, Tommy Gilbert's matches, Tommy Rich's matches, plus just everybody under the sun. Almost every episode that's available to the USWA is on that channel. We're currently finishing up uploading the rest of the CWA Memphis show. So if you want to watch some old wrestling, that's the place to go and do it. We've got anything you want and add new stuff every single day, Doug.
Man, that sounds great, Gene. Everybody can go and watch some of the high points of all of our careers. And man, it's just like, I love the USWA stuff. And you're saying 91, 92. Yeah, to that point, you're getting to the point where soon right there after me and Brian, I think, start our program. And then after that, me and Tommy have a program with PG-13. And man, that was a good time for my career. And I've done a lot of good things with a lot of different guys, a lot of different talented guys and everything. And man, we had a big time. And like I said, we drew some money. I think it was the last money that was drew, not because it was me or just them. It was just the talent of all the guys together. And like I said, this wound up being the last program, the last territory other than the big two that was left. I mean, everybody else has shut the doors, and the last one to do it was Jared. And like I said, he kept running Monday through Saturday every week, and until then.
Yeah, we'll have to get you up one of these Sunday mornings when we record and get you to come on the USWA show with us and give everybody some insight to what's going on at the time, or the time period we're covering. Because, like I say, it's a lot going on. You know, Steve Austin was there, and Jamie had just turned on his dad and was running around as JC Ice Baby, and Bruno was uptown and wearing his tuxedo and his top hat and everything.
Right.
It's a lot of good stuff going on.
Yeah, it seemed like things was changing weekly, wasn't it?
Absolutely. A lot happening. So a lot of reasons to get out to that Mid-South Coliseum and then all the other towns around the loop there. But I guess it's time to wrap this one up.
Man, you ain't kidding, Gene. I've had a good time talking about, me and you and Tommy talking about the different cards and the different territories, and that was fun. Always getting different guys in there and having Tommy's take on them, my take on them, your take on them, and you know, I think we all three throw a little bit different in at the guys and everything, and I think that's cool. But listen, man, like I said, I hope everybody's enjoyed it, and we love talking about the different, like I said, different guys, the different feuds, the different eras, and everything. But listen, Gene, thanks for everybody watching. Hope you all had a good time. Peace, be cool.
Relive the glory days of Memphis wrestling with the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. Each week, we go back in time to review USWA Championship Wrestling from the 1990s, episode by episode. Join us for watch-alongs, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive interviews with people who were there and lived it. Whether you grew up watching it or you're discovering it for the first time, this podcast is your ringside seat to Memphis wrestling history. It's all a part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. Listen now at uswapodcast.com.
In the heart of Tennessee, born to pride, Doug and Tommy taking rings in stride. Memphis legends never backing down, wrestling warriors, they wear the crown. USWA, glory in their veins, fighting legends breaking chains. In the squared circle they made their name. Podcast champions, it's their claim to fame. On the mic they roar, on the map they soar. Dangerous conversations, fans wanting more. From title belts to Hall of Fame, Doug and Tommy carved the name. Fists of fury and hearts of gold. Every story, every fight we told. Tales of glory, laughter, cry. Tennessee warriors with hearts open wide. In the ring or on the air, legends living without a care. On the mic they roar, on the mat they soar. Dangerous conversations, fans wanting more. Our guys